All right, we are live again, and we just started a new feed, new live stream, I should say. And that was the first of reviews. I think I'm going to try to do where I focus on just a short. I'm going to try to keep it as concise and focused as I can, and just kind of go over the whiskey and you know give you some quick notes on it. A lot of people have told me over the last 2 or 3 years I was doing these that they missed the fact that they didn't have a way to do come and see like a short 7-minute video. And I thought, well, that's okay, but it's really tough because I don't really have time to sit down and go through OBS and learn like a whole new software suite and do the editing. And a lot of these channels are a little bigger than mine. They have people that are fixated or really good at doing that type of thing, like Drew for the Scotch for Dummies. And I think Scott does a lot of the editing on the Scotch Test Dummy site. And everyone's got their deal. Probably the ones that are doing it solo probably have a little help on the side, I'm guessing, unless they work in software. I do actually work in IT, but I only have time for so much. So, hey, Chad, good to see you. Sorry, I wasn't trying to ignore you guys in the last video. I was just trying to give people a short, to the point review, and then come and have a discussion about it afterward. That's more in detail, because a lot of people, like I said, were looking for shorter videos that they could watch on the side for just a quick bam bam nose palate finish and get a score and go on their merry way. But I didn't want to take away the fun and the sit down with you guys, and still wanted to do that. So I thought I'll just break up the videos, and this will take a lot less pressure off the whole thing too, to get everything perfect. Because nothing goes perfect on a 2-hour live feed after the fact. Good to see you. Hopefully we'll see some other people here soon. I know Trooper usually tries to get on. He's works on the oil fields down in Louisiana, and it's hit and miss for him. And I usually do Tuesday nights, and I might still keep that time and day. I just missed this last Tuesday. There's been a lot going on. I got a really nasty speeding ticket I have to go to court for, and all this mess in Virginia, of all places. I was driving to Tennessee from where I live on the coast of Maryland. And let's just say don't speed over 10 miles an hour on Highway 81 in Roanoke, because they will make it a huge deal. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, let's get to the whiskey. Yeah, this was an interesting, a very mixed bag bottle. I'm glad I got it. It wasn't not on the cheap end though, because this is one of those Friends of Laphroaig bottles that you have to get overseas. If you're lucky, you have a way to get your hands on one way or another. It wasn't something that I could get the first year it was even available. It's kind of sad. And so I did my homework, and I looked here and there, and I finally saw it pop up. I think it was around, I'm trying to think what the pounds, because it was in UK funds, I believe. But I think it ended up being, after shipping and everything, around 150-ish. Is it worth it? It's a tough one for that kind of price. I think that the retail at the time of release was around 70 pounds. 70 to 80 pounds, I think, was the original release on that. That would be a little easier, I think, to say it's worth it. But it's not a bad dram at all. It's well above an average dram of what I would consider a 3 out of 5. I'd say it's more closer to 3.75. It's really got a really nice, the trademark TCP iodine thing that Laphroaig has, and it's got really nice. If you like Sour Patch Kids kind of thing, like a sour tart fruit mix with your peat smoke, and some like heather, like almost Highland Parkish heather properties in the background, with some lavender and some and on the palate. It's got that peanutty little tinge of peanuts, cashews, hazelnut kind of deal on the side. Not too bad, not too bad, but not, it didn't blow me out of the park. If it was a 50 plus percent option, kept the same age statement, I'm not sure if that's even possible, but that would have made it a bit different. As far as it could have been 4.25, 4.5, I think, if it had the ABV. But it's funny, I didn't talk about this in the short review. I kind of forgot about it, but it hits hotter. It actually tastes hotter than the 43% that it's at, which is kind of strange. If I was just and I'm pretty good at telling you what an ABV is of a bottle if I taste it without knowing. On this one, it's definitely I would have missed it, I think, because if I'm just gauging it without knowing, it definitely hits at a minimum, I think, of 46%. Maybe that's why they kept it at a lower ABV too, because it definitely hits 46, maybe even a 48% taste wise. But it still lacks that 51, 57, that range of what you usually get, with Cairdeas. It's kind of sad. The Cairdeas has gone so far. It's creeped along another shelf down that way. So I'm starting to stack my Ardbeg, and I'm starting to take the Laphroaig down the side. My focus is way off, guys. I apologize. I'm not sure what the heck is going on. There we go. Alas, Cause, good to see you. Yeah, it's good to be back. I've been dealing with numerous things, but I needed a break too at the same time. I think I was overthinking a lot of the crap I was dealing with when I was trying to do go through all the distilleries and try to rate them and all that. And it just got to be too much for, what I'm really trying to do is just give you guys a really good overview of a good whiskey like I did at the beginning video, and hopefully just got my take out there, but also give you guys a landing platform for some good discussion on the side. What have you guys been up to, Chad and Lost Cause, at least? I'm curious to see if you've had anything recently that stood out that you liked. This was other than, I'm not sure if I did a video for it. If I haven't, I might still be able to do one, possibly. I hope I didn't get through the bottle already. I could have, though. It was really good. Was the Laphroaig Cairdeas triple wood, the cast strength version of that. If I did do a video, go check it out. And it's been a while, that's why I can't remember. But if I didn't, I will tell you that it is definitely worth a pickup. It's one of the better options. Definitely if you're a bourbon fan, if you like a bourbon cask whiskey, a scotch, I think that triple wood's really good. If you're not really big on the woody notes, though, because it is the triple wood, be wary. But overall, it definitely can handle a couple drops of water too. It's great neat. This one, not so much neat. I'll tell you, the grapefruit factor was a little bit much. The pithy, rhubarb I was talking about earlier. It's a bit much neat on this one, only because of that. But that drop of water really helped, I think, overall the profile, and I think it got some of the complexities out of it. So people that are all anti water, Aquaman, Mr. Lee, I'm talking to you. You're not going to even want to deal with this. But for the people that don't mind spending an hour with the whiskey and getting to know it and all the little fine little details, we're going to pour a big pour now. The first pour was just a pour for the review. Now we can have a big pour and do it a better deal here. I'm going to go neat on this one just to see if I still have that sour tartness factor, if it's still overwhelming. But that was a big swallow. Yeah, It's I'm not sure what that is. The closest thing I could think of is those sour the sour fruit that I was talking about. But yeah, it definitely needs a little drop, but not much at all. Looks like Lost Causes talking about the Cavalier and the Amaret. Good choices. My favorite Cavalier, I haven't had a bunch, I'll be honest with you, but the Cavalier I really liked, I remember, was that was that Vino Brick? I can't remember the name of it. I think that was it. That Soloist, I think it's called. That was really good. Amaret, my favorite Amaret was man. I've had some good ones. I remember the rye being really good for some reason. I'm not. It stands out. I think I had another one that was really good. That was an Amaret as well. That was different than the rye, but no joke. I mean, I try to stick to Scotch just because if I go way out and do all these, the Indian stuff and some of the other countries like Taiwanese and things like that, I'll be all over the place. There's enough great things in Scotland that keep me busy for quite a while, thankfully. Looks like Lost Causes of winning Scotch tariffs. Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do nowadays. It is affecting our hobby, which is kind of frustrating. Chassis and the Kilhoman week of Pete McCure Bay at cast strength. Excuse me. US only offering 2019. I have heard of it. I have not tried it yet. What do you think? It looks like your thumbs up with a lot of exclamation marks. I think that's what that is. The red exclamation marks. I like that. Exploring Kilhomans since they're supposedly eating the tariffs. Wow. Okay. Good news. This is why I like doing this live show on the side, because I learn things from you guys as much as hopefully you're getting from me. So that's good to know, because there are one of my more recent bottles I picked up from my favorite store is the STR cast matured. I might do a show on that. I think I still have a little bit of that left. If I do, I'll do a show. If I don't, then we'll just have to get another bottle, I guess. And there's enough Kilhoman out there that I haven't had that I definitely want to try. So don't worry about that as well. Appreciate your take and style of reviewing whiskey. No, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it too. It's part of the fun. Jason Coates, good to see you. Yeah, sorry, Jason, I wasn't ignoring you on the other feed, really. I don't have an easy way to turn the chat on and off because I'm using StreamYard, which is it's a service that makes the setup a lot easier than going through all the little nuances that YouTube keeps changing on us. I wish they would stop changing things. And I work in IT. It's kind of sad because I've worked in IT since the mid '80s. So I know what I'm doing pretty much most of the time when it comes to anything like that. But when you have, a set way of doing things, and then you're told that you have to do it a whole completely different way and a different set of rules on top of that to do what you're doing, it makes it really annoying to do. But yeah, I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was just wanting to get through that first short review and then start this stream where I can really kind of like relax more and hang out. We were just discussing the Amaret Rye last night. Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember that being really good. What was your take on it, man? On what did you think? Was it? I think if I remember correctly, I know I gave it at least a 4 out of 5, if not maybe a 4.5 out of 5. It was high quality. I do remember that. Not a lot of details though. I think I have a review. I didn't record one probably because I'm not doing outside of Scotch. But if I was going to do one, that's one of the few that I actually would be interested in doing. Lost Cause on the waiting list for the ASTR at his local store. I have a few. Could pour though. Okay. You will not be. I won't give in too much away. The only thing about the STR, I know that is kind of one of those things where, is it as good as the red wine cask or the original cask strength? No, unfortunately, I don't believe it is. It's not as complex. But is it a good, solid taste that's better than the port cask from Kilhoman? Hell yeah. Without a doubt, it's better. Is it the 4.5 out of 5? No, but is it, 3 out of 5? It's much better than that. So that'll kind of give you a good feeling, I think, that you're at least going to get your money's worth out of it. Would I buy it again? Yeah, just going in knowing it's going to be a straightforward shaved, the charred campfire. It's not, it's going to taste great, but it's not going to have a whole lot going on the side. That kind of sums up that bottle for you. Oh no, I use just a quick review. Yep, no worries. I appreciate it, man. It doesn't matter how much you know about something. Change always requires adjustment. That's true, and you do have to adjust a lot when it comes to this stuff. Hey, DHS, good to see you, man. Oh, that's the buzz from my transform my amplifier. Give me 1 second. Turn that off. Sorry about that. 1 second. You think they would make these easier to? There we go. They think they would make that easier to deal with, but they put the switch on the back of the actual device. It's really crazy. So not only do you have to turn it off, you also have to switch the power supply off in the back, where it makes this humming noise that drives you crazy. Yes, DHS, I do live. And check out the actual short review if you're interested in knowing more of details about this guy. I'm just doing a short review and then a long discussion afterward, just to get the ball rolling without a bunch of pressure on the review part, and have it separate for people that just want to thing. Did I lose some weight? Yes, I did, actually, thankfully. I had to readjust some lifestyle choices, we'll put it that way. But I'm not giving up my stuff. Yeah, it's been a decent. I haven't had any problems per se. I've just been dealing with some issues on the side, but it's all good. Jason says, no clue on the Emmett Rye. Just saw it online last night. Was curious about it. Oh, yeah, it's actually pretty good. I think. Well, I appreciate it, DHS. There's the Aquaman. Hey there, good to see you, man. It's been a while. I haven't died. I haven't succumbed to the angel's pee yet. Yeah, Lee, I was telling the guys that you might want to be careful about this Cairdeas, because I know you don't like to play with water at all. And the only way to get this, I think, at a state that I really enjoyed it was with, and I'm telling you, you got to get one of these, or get like an eyedropper or something, and just put one little mini drop of water on it. I know it's crazy. I know it sounds nuts, especially for a 43% whiskey, but it's so sour and so bitter that it just needs a little bit of that little bit of drop just to balance everything out. Yeah, it's been going pretty crazy, but good. I had a hell of a speeding ticket in Roanoke, Virginia, that I got to go to court over. You ever driven on 81 near Roanoke, Virginia, Lee? If you have, you probably have a ticket too. Those guys, man, they're everywhere, and all I do is get people for going to 80 to 70 and try to make it out like it's a criminal misdemeanor. It's that bad. You've been laying low for 4 or 5 months as well. Wow, okay. It hasn't been that long, I guess. I think I've been laying low since November, December. So I guess it has been, 3 or 4 months at least. But same here, pretty much. I haven't, been stopping drinking per se. And I'll tell you a couple bottles that I have picked up recently that I do think are going to be well worth a look. And I was skeptical. One good example of this is the Highland Park Twisted Tattoo. Is that a 16 year? Yeah, 16 year. And I saw it sitting on the shelf, didn't know anything about it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. 16 years, probably going to be, $100, $120 at least, at a minimum. The 18 I know goes for 130 to 140 usually. Sometimes up to 160. You can get the 15, I think, for 115 to 120 still. Well, they discontinued that. Never mind. No, you can't do that anymore either. But it's like a $99, I think, was the Twisted Tattoo. And if you're not afraid of a vanilla, briny, complex floral type of whiskey. I think it's actually pretty good. I went through the bottle fairly quickly. It didn't last very long. So I think it's worth, I think it's worth a pickup for it. I was kind of hesitant because I thought, you know what, it wasn't really well reviewed. You didn't really see it reviewed anywhere. I wish I did a review on it myself. I wasn't doing reviews when I went through the bottle, unfortunately. But if you are looking for an interesting one that's a little different, that's worth the money, I think it's worth a pickup. How much over? I guess you're asking me about how much speeding. It was 92. It was a little too fast, but they will lock you up for like 80 in a 70 there. It's insane. Like Lee said, yeah, that road is dangerous. Virginia automatically tried to charge you with reckless driving for above 80. Yeah, when the limit's 70, it's a total money grab. It really is. Paid $100 for the 16. Wow. That's about what for the Twisted Tattoo, I think it's about what I did. Lee says, I've been sipping red, yellow, and green spot Irish stuff lately. Ah, yes. The only one I had was the one, I think Scott. Scott is in our little distillery travel group, we'll say. And I think he sent us the Red Spot 12, if I remember correctly. And I do remember that I enjoyed that one. That was pretty good. I definitely have not had the yellow or green. I don't know if it's older or the differences, but I've heard that they're really tough to find. I actually did look for one where I usually shop, and I don't think they had anything there. But what did you think about the yellow and green there, Lee, out of just curiosity? Ooh, be back shortly, going to pour some 17-year-old Springbank Sherrywood. Sounds great. And that reminds me, upcoming on some new shows I'll be doing tomorrow, matter of fact, I'm going to pick up a Springbank. The year is escaping me. I think it's a 15, but I do know it's a rum cask, and that should be interesting. I never had a Springbank rum cask before. Lee, if you're interested, I will definitely try to get you some juice on the side and see if you are interested in that. You might have already had the Springbank. I think it's 15. Don't quote me on it. Or is it 18 or 15? But it's definitely a rum cask. If you're interested, let me know. I'm also going to be picking up the Kilkerran 15-year-old high cask strength too. I think it's like 57%. That is sitting waiting for me as well tomorrow. So yeah, the new rum cask is 15. That's the one I'll be looking at. So it'll be interesting to see. The green is surprisingly good for $40 a bottle. Yellow is a 12-year-old. Reminds me of a bourbon. It's still good. Okay. Yeah, if you can find a good bottle for $40, then that's always a good call. Worth a try, I'd say. Yeah, Lee, if you want some notes on this particular thing I just did, I did a separate live. I'm going to do a short live review to start with, and I'm going to do a long discussion afterward, which is what this is. So check out the review if you want to know more details about this one. But I'll have to keep my eye out on the yellow and the green, since we had the red from Scott. That was pretty good. DHS has already had that 15. You hear Kilkerran, he thinks it's great. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I was excited to hear that it was coming. Have you guys already had the Springbank rum 15 as well? I'm curious if you guys already like it or what you think about that one. Looks like that Lost Cause is doing the A.D. Murray. Is that the Alexander Murray? Alexander Murray, I think it is. Kergelke 12. Or is A.D. Murray its own independent bottling? I'm trying to remember. Whenever I hear Murray, I think of Alexander Murray. I think I don't have any bottles out here, so I keep looking back. But I thought that they had one there. I bet the green is good for 40. Unfortunately, $70 there. Yeah, these prices are all over the place. Lee's really good about finding places to get things. So he might know of a good buy Possibly that might be the big price difference. But sometimes, like if I talk to people in Louisiana, for example, or Kentucky, it's a big difference from here in Maryland, DC area, and even out in California. It's all over the place. Jason says, laughing at ever seeing that Springbank. You never know. You never know, man. I mean, oh, AD Rat Ray, I meant. Gotcha. It's Friday. Cheers to that, guys. Cheers to that. I'm so glad I'm able to sit down and have a little live stream with y'all. Jason, I was able to get the green spot shipped from the UK. Oh, before the tariffs for 42. I'm sure I can't. Yeah, that price is going to be tough. Yeah, hopefully this tariff BS will be over with before long. It'd be nice. Oh, very nice from Jason. I've seen it. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's. I haven't had to lost cause. I haven't tried the 80 Rattray. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I haven't tried their independent bottlings yet, but I've heard that they're pretty good. Do you like most of their stuff that you've had? Have you had more than one or so? Sorry, I kicked the entire desk just now. That's why the camera went berserk. But DHS is the 15-year Springbank rum is around here for about 160, but not a huge fan of Springbank's rum finish. Have you? I guess you've answered my question, DHS. You've already had some of their other rum finishes. I didn't even know that they've done one before. I wasn't familiar with it. How many have you tried? Have they done it a lot? Have they just done one before and you just weren't a fan of it? Do you remember the year statement of what you had before too? I could make a bit of a difference, but yeah, rum finishes are really, really tough. I do like the Ardbeg drum. I had to warm up to it though. It was such a timid peat flavor that I usually get from Ardbeg that I was kind of like, eh. But if I'm in the mood for a sweet rum dram, it's actually, it's actually not bad at all. It's kind of reminiscent of when I reviewed this guy. It's got its ups and downs, but it still came out to, I think, 3.75 or so. It's not ever going to be in the greats like the Dark Cove or as complex as like the Kelpie or something, but it's still a solid deal. Dita says, I've had a 19-year rum finish, and then I've had a 21 that's rum and bourbon blended. Wow, man. You've got a really good Springbank hookup, it sounds like, because I haven't heard of them doing a 19-year rum finish, or definitely not a 21. That's a rum and bourbon blend. It sounds interesting, but Springbank does have some funkiness to it, and if the funkiness doesn't jive well with the rum cask, which is what it sounds like might be going on, maybe that's why. Was that kind of what if you had a suspicion of why it wasn't as good as you hoped it to be, could it be a possibility of why, or did you have any reason of maybe not getting into it as much? Lost Cause says, I've had a few, all great. This one tastes like a California roll. I'll be on the lookout for that Springbank rum. Yeah. Well, at least stuck at work. I have to bounce in and out. I'm trying to watch more of the stream when I get a chance. Okay, man. Well, that sounds good to me. Anytime. Hopefully I'll run into Paul before long and be able to say, hey, it's been a long time since I got to talk to him and Prene too. I'll have to maybe maybe I'll surprise you guys with something. I don't know. We'll figure out something. DHS says 21 just got their standard release, 2018. Yeah, I heard that Springbank was doing some like higher end normal releases again, so that should be interesting. I wonder if it's as good as the old 21 though. I've heard mixed reviews on that. Did you already get your chance to try it out? Richard Blanca, it's good to see you, man. Cheers from LA, California. Nice. Yeah, it's hard to get you guys unless I do. It seems like a really, really late feed or a really, really early feed or something weird. But it's tough to get to Europe because I usually go on later. But I figure, well, this might be a good chance to, get some of the Europeans maybe to show up, and we'll see. Looks like. Sorry, I was kind of caught off guard with Richard. Got the 80 Rattray Bowmore 14 bottle at bottle 4 Bevmo. Okay, it's really good bourbon cask. Yeah, I hear that Bowmore's independent releases are really good compared to their distillery ones. So that's definitely, if I'm in the mood for Bowmore, which doesn't happen too often. I do like the Dorismore, also known as the Tempest, but never, the Devil's Cast prices are beyond me. But I'll have to definitely get my hands on a couple liked independent bottling offerings to see what I like about the Bowmore ones, because I have like the HP ones, the Helen Park ones I've had have been pretty good. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, DHS says Springbank's malt does better with wine finishes than with rum or bourbon. Yeah, very similar in profile. Jason says I have a bottle of the Longrow 18 that has a rum like podcast. Haven't gotten into it yet. Huh. I've heard good things about the Longrow 18. Maybe the heavier peat. Maybe this is why I like the Ardbeg drum, I should say, as well as maybe the heavier peat balances well with the sweetness of the rum. This is a hypothesis, so take that with a grain of salt. But DHS's Longrow can do better without the wine. Their heavy peat does better. Yeah, there we go. He just answered my question. I think the Longrow is 2016. Okay, all the 21s different profiles. Mike's Whiskey Reviews and I have reviews on the 2018 and 2019 on this channel. Wow. And they're all different. See, that's the funny thing about Springbank I learned when I was doing my distillery overviews, is that when it comes to consistency, it's tough because Springbank is handcrafted and they do everything, by hand, truly. And from the bottling to everything. And so with that in mind, as long as they do a good quality product, I guess it doesn't matter that it might be slightly different. But if you do fall in love with a particular bottle, the problem is you'll probably never be able to get it back again. So it's kind of a toss-up to me deciding if that's a good quality to have, or I guess it goes either way. It depends on what you're, producing. If they're doing what they do best, then of course it's going to be great. But 2019 is awesome. 2018 quality is quality, but these are $400 bottles. Yeah, that's where it really gets tough for me, because I'm investing in something that's not consistent. And I guess as long as you know if that year is good or not, then it's definitely makes sense to go for that release. And then it's worth the investment. But if you got a new year and you don't know, and it's not been well reviewed, and it's kind of a crapshoot, the good thing that Springbank has going for it, as well as Glengyle / Kilkerran, Longrow, Hazelburn, they do put out quality products. Typically, I've yet to have an horrible bottle. I wasn't too keen on the Hazelburn Barolo 9-year cask deal. That was the only Springbank type of Campbelltown deal that I just didn't get into as much. With that said, I absolutely adored the Hazelburn Oloroso 14-year, I believe it was. That was an awesome, and it was just a sample. I've got to get a bottle of that at some point. We'll see. Hopefully, I can get my hands on one without having to do too much of that. THS is the rum bourbon isn't worth $400. Yeah, I imagine. Richard Blancas, Alexander Murray black labels are single cask, which is better. Good to know. I did not know that. The ones I've always had are the red labels. They're decent. I've had a good Tormore from them. I've had an excellent Glenturret from them, the Alexander Murray. I had another one, Glenkeith, that was pretty good too. That were red labels, but I haven't had a black label yet. I'll have to try to see if I can find one. Jason's had the fun with the Springbank. I guess, yeah, they're so small. Asking for consistency is tough. That's true, especially since they don't do it by machine. They're doing it, they're doing everything in house. So let me see. DHS is that in the 2019 port finishing, that was magic. Ooh. Yeah, one thing I did love, I had a Springbank 19-year port cask mature, what was it? 300 bottles, not very many. And it was like $280-ish, but It was well worth it. It was very extremely complex. The only other complex bottle I've ever had like that reminded me of the notes I got from that was the Tomaten Decades, which is a one-off. And I'm not the biggest Tomaten fan by any means, but if you ever run across a Tomaten Decades, it's got some very, very old stuff in there, and hence the name Decades. They have some stuff from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the aughts in there. Really, really well done, I have to say. Agree on the 9-year, too young and didn't do anything for me either. DHS. Well, I'll give you a virtual high five on that one. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I just got unlucky with my first. That was my first Hazelburn too. I took a chance and I thought, how bad could it be? But man, that was rough. It took a long time to get through that bottle. I think that was the one I offered to a lot of whiskey friends that were getting into Scotch, if you know what I mean. Telex, have tried any Laphroaig indie bottles? I have not. From Richard. I want to say I have. I've had lots of Laphroaigs. I've had Aquavite. Roy from Scotland was gracious enough to send me a hand sample from the distillery there. It was awesome. I want to say no though. I cannot remember having. I had the opportunity to get an Ardbeg and a Laphroaig from Chieftains recently, but for the price, and since I love the distillery bottles from these guys, it's hard for me to take the gamble. I'm not usually going out to see a lot of these independents unless, like Bowmore, I run into a distillery where I'm not getting what I'm looking for there. Then I will go to the independents that way. But I'm probably missing out on a lot of stuff too. That's probably great. Blackadder? I've heard they're a really good independent. I should probably try a Laphroaig from them. They do a lot of cast strength stuff. I've heard that's pretty decent. I'll have to take a try. Richard, have you had any independents? No, you said you have not. If I was going to try one though, I'm thinking Exclusive Malts does a great job. I've yet to see a Laphroaig from them, but they probably do have one. Their Holland Park stuff is great, as is their Lagavulin independent bottlings. Alexander Murray, if they offer a Laphroaig, I think I might have seen one. I've heard Signatory does a great job, so we'll have to keep a lookout because, I mean, Signatory's got Kalila out the yin yang. You can see that stuff everywhere. Laphroaig's a harder one to nail down on the independents from what I've seen. Chieftains is a newer one, I think, that's doing a lot of Isla whiskey. Locally, I've seen the Chieftain stuff for Ardbeg of all places, which hardly ever does independent bottlings, and I think Laphroaig as well. The Oloroso is amazing. Jason agreed with that. Yeah, for the first of the 17 Sherrywood. Wow. Oh, is this Springbank 17 Sherrywood that you're having there, DHS? Good to see him. Okay, I do know who Maltneser is. That's Mr. Rabbit in Red. I did see your notice that you sent out about the name change, and I think it's cool. It's a good deal. Makes sense to me. And we'll have to get you. I had a great time with you on the show that one time you stopped by, so we'll have to do another live sometime if you're up for it. We'll just hopefully be able to find a bottle together, and we'll go through it. Happy Friday to everybody, yes, as well. Cheers to him. My favorite indie bottle is the Cadence Head Auchentoshan 17 small batch. Oh man, see, that's an underrated distillery. I think Auchentoshan is a Lowlands. For you guys that don't know, a lot of you guys that are experts like me, they do know, but I think they're underrated. Even the 3-wood I thought was a decent whiskey that just got annihilated by reviews. I liked the American Oak, the 12-year. It's definitely not not if you're in the mood for an Isla or a Campbelltown, but if you want some sweetness and you want like a good balance, you want your florals, you want a savory back end. I think it's a good bottle. I'll have to try that one out. Cadence Head's another one I've heard good stories about. So Auchentoshan 17 small. I'll have to keep that in mind. It's wherever. I do see Akantoshan independents, but usually it's other independent bottlings that I see them from. So I'll have to keep an eye out and see if especially a 17-year. Any distillery that ends with more is better from the independent bottlers. That's the best. That's the best one I think I've ever heard there, Jason. I know which Moors you're referring to. And I think you might be right, because all the ending Moors, yeah, it's like, yeah, I can't argue with that. I'll have to keep that in mind. And I've had the same exact experience with those distillery Moor bottles versus the independent bottles. So there you go. It's ironic how that works. Maybe it's like a secret formula. That Batiki Whiskey Company, yes, has solid Ardbeg 12 Indy out right now for $100. Ooh, and it's 375 milliliters. Interesting. That whiskey, I can't even say it. That Batiki Whiskey Company, they do a good job in their bottles. I have a little bit left of a 50-year-old Prane sent me this. For our little group, he sent this as a bonus, like this 50-year-old. I think it was that Batiki Whiskey Company. It was one of the. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't exactly that, it was something that was tied in with them. It was some 50-year like a blend of different whiskeys, and it was really good, interesting. Adelphi's the best indie bottle, hands down, but pricey. Yeah, I've heard Adelphi is really, really good. Jason Coates, the sherry one might be a bottle for you, man. That taste is right up front. It feels just like a natural wood. Showcase the spirit. Huh. That sounds ideal. Just released a 26-year-old cast strength Ardbeg. Wow. It sounds like I need to do some Caden's Head / Adelphi homework. Yeah, let's set up live soon. That sounds good to me. We'll keep in touch during the week and hopefully pin down a day, maybe next Tuesday if you're available. I'm thinking I might stick to the Tuesday night thing, but it's really up in the air. Let's see. Oh, yeah, DHS neck 91-ish major high score for me. Oh, okay. Keep an eye out. Yeah, there's a U.S. release, but this isn't the U.S. release. I want those extra 50 milliliters now. I bet you do, man. That's the hardest thing about these 700 versus 750s. Not sure if this was a good value. 205 shipped, but I'm thrilled. Yeah, it's hard to be bitter once you're tasting it and you're loving it, even if you spend a lot of quid for it. Chieftain's Laphroaig 13 single sherry cask strength at Kennel Wines for about 150. Her Chieftain's is going away. Oh my. I wonder why that's. See, I saw my favorite local place had a shit ton of Chieftains arrive, and I wonder if that's why. Because before exclusive malts closed out, they also got a shitload of their stuff too. So I'm wondering if he's getting a really good deal at the tail end. That it would explain why maybe he got 4 or 5 bottles of that stuff. Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind. If I see them come up with like 5 or 6 bottles of different independent stuff, then I'll know that particular independent distiller bottler is probably on its way out. That's good to know. Doesn't sound too bad for a Springbank. The Core 18 is $199. Yeah, that's the same here. 18 is no joke price wise, man. The 10-year is $75 here. Is the Springbank 10 $75 where you guys are too? I'm just curious. DHS says I can get the 18 between 170 and 230. Wow, depending on the shop, but bottling area, drives the price. Keenan said total 117. Okay, 52% is about perfect. So 57. Yeah, that sounds perfect, because 57s can be a bit overwhelming unless you are the type that's the opposite of Aquaman, where they add like a whole freaking, kind of like I love Ralphie, don't get me wrong, but he loves sometimes to put lots of water on. I think it's for those guys that like to put a couple tablespoons. I can't remember which one's bigger. I'm not a cook, but Jason says he misses, yeah, Exclusive Malts. They did some good work. They did, and you can still find some bottles out there. I know my local place has still got a shit ton. So if you're interested, send me an email at telex@outlook.com. I'll tell you what they still have up there. Maybe you could still find a way to get your hands on something, because they have a boatload of exclusive malts up there. I do have a list. I'm trying to see what how recent or old this one is. Now, this one's an older list from November, but just to give you an idea of some of the things that he's got, like the Chieftains. Let's talk Chieftains first. Ardbeg 2005, Auchentoshan 1993, Benriach 1995, Brayville 23, Khalil 14, Glen Elgin 2008, Glen Allachie 2006, Glenbergie 98, Glendulin 2000, Glentoker's probably 2003, Linkwood 1997, Strathleisla 10, and a Tininic 20. That's for the Chieftains. For the exclusive malts, and this is no joke, they have Altavania, they have the Ardmore 2000, the Othrosk, the Balmanic 13, the Glenlivet 23, Glen Allachie, Crofton Gia, I'm not sure. I think that's a dead distillery. Deaston 1997, Invergordon 1973, which is a grain, not for me. An Isla 2007, which is most likely Laphroaig or Cairdeas, I would say. A Speyside 03, Strathclyde 26, Dalmore 96, Highland 8-year, a Highland peated, an Isla, an Orkney, and a Speyside. So they still have I think a good handful up there, even because they don't sell a whole lot of stuff as far as the independent stuff that quickly. I don't believe. Don't quote me on it, but we'll see. Oh, good night, Chad. Thanks for stopping by, man. Wow, I missed a lot of. I got to catch up on the comments here. Kate and Ted's. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. There we go. No, that sounds like a post-tariff price in the tin. Wow. Sitting 90 in a lot of places. Holy moly. $90? Springbank 10? A 10-year-old whiskey is $90. I just thought I'd never see that. With Ralphie, it might reach Staplespoon levels. Ralphie drinks his whiskey at 30 proof. Hey, I'm not knocking the guy. He must knows what he's doing, because he's got a shit ton of subscribers. I'll give him credit for that. I know a store one town over that has some OCWC stock too. Yeah, they have 17-year-old Dalmore. Yeah, that sounds good. I would pick that one up in a heartbeat. I put drops of scotch on my water. Less cost. Yeah, cheers to Chad. That's a good way to pour it for your kids. Yeah. Crofton Gia is a peated Loch Lomond. There we go, Jason. Thank you for the. I thought that was Inchmurren. I know Inchmurren is like the. I think that's the Taiwanese branch of Loch Lomond that does peated now, because I've had the Inchmurren 18, which is an okay bottle. It's not outstanding. It's not horrible. It's kind of 3 out of 5. But it is what it is. I thought Inchmurren was peated Loch Lomond, but Crofton Gia might be like, maybe that's old school or something. One of their mini spirits, yeah. Hey, Trooper, there you were. I was just talking about you, man. Glad to see you back too. Yeah, I was talking to the guys about. I'm doing short reviews first. Did this one earlier. Check it out on the side if you get a chance. And then we'll do the discussion a separate live feed afterward. I don't have a lot of time to do any editing and stuff. That's why I'm doing like a short live review first. Going straight into the discussion right afterward, and see how that goes. Ralphie, sometimes I think he gets commission from Diageo. Oh, man. Though I love him, but sometimes I don't know why he goes against his own morals. Yeah. Money and fame and things like that can make you do some crazy stuff sometimes, but He seems like a genuine dude. I mean, haven't watched him in a while, but only because of time. Not that I didn't like what I saw, especially his older stuff. He seems pretty thorough and genuine, and just tells you how he feels. And he's out there in the Isle of Man, and you can't get any more authentic than that. Maybe, I mean, I wish I had his little bothy thing going on with the stone, but I got the wood paneling at least. But yeah, he seems like he doesn't try to go too crazy with all that kind of stuff. But you never know. Once you hit a certain plateau, man, you got to maybe someone needs to I don't want to say put him in check, but maybe say, hey, where do you stand with between these things, and see what he says. Just maybe more of a direct question. Oh, drinking the Bunnahabhain Erina Grain. Oh man, I love that bottle. I've got an empty one back there. That's a red wine cask from my favorite Bunnahabhain. Well, one of my favorite Bunnahabhain distilleries. And I do not get any kickbacks. I've never every bottle you see here I've paid for. And if I ever get a bottle, it's from a friend, not from a distillery. I guarantee you that. And I never have asked for one either, and I never will, because that's just not cool. I don't think that's just not my deal. But what do you think of the trooper of the Bunnahabhain Erina Grain? I like that one, man. It has that really nice, sweet, but yet almost, I don't know how to explain it. I think that one's peated, isn't it? If I remember correctly, I know the Croatvona is. I can't remember if the Erina Grain is or not. I get those mixed up a little bit in my head, but I'm pretty sure I know that Erina Grain is the red wine cask, and I think it has a bit of peatiness to it, if I'm remembering correctly. And I do remember I liked it a lot. Explain that one. I'm interested. Don't watch him a lot. Jason, the thing with Loch Lomond, they had a bunch of different stills, and they still do. Okay, they still do a few lines. Loch Lomond, Inchmont, and Crofton. Wow. I'm wondering, and I've had my Loch Lomond. I'm not a huge fan of the 12. I thought it was a bit soapy for my taste. I've had the older stuff. I thought it was better, like the 18. I think it was a step up, but nothing from them yet has blown my socks off. And I'm wondering if it's only because they reach out so much and they have their hands in so many different things that they're just not focused enough. Because sometimes, and I'll attest, just even myself, being very detailed oriented, analytical, I can overthink things sometimes, and it gets you in trouble. But he says it's kind of a mess. So there you go. Kind of answered my question right afterward. He reviews a lot of colored 40% ABV, like he so much complains about. Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem, Richard, and I'm not trying to defend him, I just know how hard it is sometimes to get your hands on, especially, I mean, I don't know if he does weekly reviews or if he does twice a week or how often, but sometimes it's hard to always get that pristine, great ABV, great year statement, great, everything type of whiskey. I've reviewed my share of 1.5 star whiskeys. Oh man, and a lot of them come from Diageo. Don't tell them that, but it's the truth. The Glen Ords and the Glen, what was it? Man, they have some doozies. Oh, I'm trying to remember. You know what I'm talking about, like this one-off stuff that they put in blends, basically. And this is the reason why they do blends. They have 3 or 4 distilleries that they thought, well, if we take some of this, some of this, some of this, put it together, maybe it, might come up with something better, which it does with the, the Johnny Walkers and the Doers of the world. And there you go, Monkey Shoulder, things like that. So, but by themselves, not so much, not so great. but that's not why Diageo bought them. That's why you don't see ads for Macklemore or whatever the one-offs that they have over there. They put it in blends. So let me catch up here. Oh, DHS to Richard. Gotcha. He also supports affordable whiskey. Yeah, I could see there being a conflict. That's the thing. Affordable, sadly, with Scotch, because it's so damn expensive, is your 40 to 43% colored and chill filtered stuff. And sadly, some of that stuff is the most advertised. So there you go with that as well. Jason says, I've heard exactly. One person says, he says, tell Shio, I'm so inclined to ignore. Sweet, salty oak and peat. Yes, peat, red wine, finishing. It's a damn fine dram, Telex. Well, I hope you got it because you watched my review on it before you got it. If you didn't, that's okay. Maybe go back and watch the review as you're drinking it, and tell me if I did a good job. I'm just curious if what I talked about matched the profile, what you're getting. Jason says, I really love the Lochwoman 12. Wow, best $35 on the planet. Are you serious, man? Did you get any soapiness from it? Maybe I had a bad bottle. I mean, because I know sometimes cork taint and certain aspects of things can really. And I think I had it at a whiskey tasting, so you never know. They might not even wash the damn glass properly, for all I know. But all I can say is I had it at a tasting, and I thought it was one of the soapiest tasting things I've ever had. Next to the Old Pulteney, I think it was a 25 or something I had. It was just absolutely horrible. Never again. And that was one of the newer ones too. I call it soapiness. It's probably some sort of floral lavender. I'm sorry, not lavender, but lilac type thing. I do not like overly lilac bottles of floral. Oh, not for me. But I'm really sensitive to that on a whiskey. Hey, Peter White, good to see you, man. He says he won't review NAS, so that limits his choices as well. Yeah, there you go. That might not be such a big thing nowadays because a lot of these distilleries finally are going back into the age statements. Hence the Highland Park 16 Twisted Tattoo and their 14s and some of their stuff, which I've heard not all of it's great, even though it's got an age statement on it. But at least they're trying, I think, harder to please the masses that are sad about not having at least the age statements on there. Picked up a couple bottles of Lochwoman 12 for $32. Great value. A trooper likes it too. Okay. Maybe I had a bad glass. Picked up the Clynelish 14 on, as Ralphie recommended, and it was underwhelming. Should have gotten any bottle, but I do love Johnny Walker. I like the 14 Clynelish only because I like the mouthfeel of it. I like a real coated mouthfeel on my whiskey. So that's why the Clynelish 14 for me, and I thought it was a good flavor too, is one of my favorites. Is also for blending your own whiskey. Even John Glazier from Compass Box uses Clynelish as a thickener in all of his stuff. I heard it straight from him myself in person, so there you go. But I mean, he uses other things, but that's one of his favorites to get into, and it makes sense because it is a good base. Lost Cause says he's not a big Johnny Walker fan. Really, I'm kind of in the middle. I like the double black and the black. I've never tried the blue or the green. I've heard mixed reviews on the green, like the island green versus the regular, and I think it's like more of a spicy kick to it. Maybe I'm thinking about the swing, but for that, once you get past the black or double black, in my opinion, for the money, you might as well get a single malt. In my opinion, I'm more, I'm not saying that they taste better than the blends, because there's some blends that kick, singles ass, but I just tend to be more, I just want to have something more pure, even if, I'm risking the quality of it being maybe a little less. I don't know. I do have favorite blends, though. The Phenomenology is a really, really damn good whiskey, as is the first No Name. Never tried the second one. I wasn't too big into the double single. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but it's kind of up and down when it comes to that stuff, you know. Sorry, I'm catching up here. Mark, good to see you, man. I'll catch up to you in a second. I'm glad you stopped by. Um, wow, I'm way behind. Here we go. So we don't have it in the States. DHS says, Mr. Crofton 18 because I didn't recognize it. Gone the next day. Wow. That's what I'm keeping out for in May. I have to go to Sky. Why is that? 700. Yeah, seal bottles. Clonlish 14 is a magic bottle for me. Yeah, same here, Jason. I like it. Wax bomb. What you been up to, bro? Good. I've been wanting to get in touch with you guys. I was going to pop in on your last live because I was thinking about doing a show after you guys, but I thought, yeah, I'll just wait a little bit. And it was a long day. I didn't have a lot of time, but I do want to get on your all show just to say, hey, you know, maybe next Thursday you guys do it. I'm thinking about doing a live Tuesday, so we'll see how that goes. Get back on a more of a regular schedule, but we'll see. Trooper says he's got the Anclada to try next. Any opinions? Well, Trooper, I will sadly tell you that is one of the very, very few. I've had the Throyu there. I've had the Arena Glena, the Klukvona, the Choychek, the Kalvanok. Oh, man. I've had a lot of Bunahavens, but one of the few I have not tried it is that Ancladach. And I'm thinking that it's going to be good, but I do not know anything about it. Hopefully it turns out to be a good one. All I can say is if you approach it like you know first like I did with this, and if it's not hitting you right and you're like something's just off, even at a low ABV 43%, don't be afraid to put one drop on it. And I'm sure Broda will attest to this. When the King Alexander III is another good representation of how this happens. It's good, neat, but when you put that one drop of water and let it open up, sit out for a good 15 minutes, it's night and day difference. There is no comparison to the quality, I think, of some of these drams with and without the time and without a little drop of water. But, you know, Richard says he picked up the Alexander Murray Glamora 13 cast strength for $39. Wow, man. I bet that is pretty good still, even for at that price. It's got to be pretty decent. I can't recommend the No Name 2. Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be a bit of a letdown comparatively. When you do blends, I'm surprised you would do a second release of something. Why not try something completely different? I guess you figure if you find a good recipe, you want to recreate it, but you can't keep the magic, guys. Once you get a good, mix and you get it out there, and a good example of that is like the Dark Origins or, some of these NASs that they do from time to time. Don't even try to do that again. It's just not, not worth it. Don't knock them until you try them. Yeah. Peter says, I saw that bottle on the Captain 3D video. The Captain 3D video. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll have to see. We need to catch up. Yeah. I'll give you a text and see what you guys are up to. Maybe we can have a little chat on the side and get caught up with some things. Yes, sir. Had a Glenmore 1847 ABV, not bad. Yeah, I'm at the tail end of my Glenmore 18 that I picked up, and at first I was kind of underwhelmed, but it is a big fan of oxidation, that bottle, and the more oxidized it became, the more the bourbon cask elements I think came out of that bottle, and I enjoyed definitely the tail end of it more than the neck pour for sure. They're not my favorite distillery, but I do like the 15 as well, the sherry cask version. The other stuff I'm kind of like, I'm not a huge fan of just the core stuff, but the 18 actually got better, a lot better with time. Just had a touch of HDO can blow it up. Well, Yeah, I mean, blow it up. You mean in a bad way there, Mark, or a good way? It's a tough one because some of these, I guess you just got to try. Hopefully you don't have just one sample to work with, and you have a whole bottle. If you have a whole bottle, definitely take the chance. If you just have a sample, then maybe split the sample and try one, neat, and the other half, with a one little drop. But it's definitely better, I think, to try it with the drop than not try it at all. That's just my take on it. Well, I got 5 releases of the Flaming Heart. Is it really good? I haven't even tried, I think, that one at all yet. It must be damn good if they've got 5 releases of it. Is it consistent, Jason? I'm just curious on that. Bevmo has 80 Rattray, Bunnahabhain 14 cast strength for 185. Still there. Wow. No Name 2 is nothing like the first one. They are using the No Name series to showcase different styles of peat. The 2 just isn't special. Okay, so it sounds like it's okay. Yeah, Bark's saying it's not even the same blend. Okay, that makes sense. So see, that's where you got to be careful to me on these naming conventions, because it can be really misleading. Because if you're a big, Phenomenology, like I said, is one of my favorite bottles that they ever did. And if he did a Phenomenology 2, for example, he might have already done one. Don't chastise me for not knowing, but let's say he did do it and it was a completely different thing. By calling it a sequel to it, which is what I take it to be when you're saying it's something part 2 or version 2, to me, it kind of throws it all off as far as what you're supposed to expect. But I guess it depends on if it was well advertised that they, weren't even close to being the same thing. But DHS is my humble opinion. The Name 2 added too much cheaper young filler. Yeah. Blow up crazy in a great way. Okay, I was going to say, yeah, it would take a lot more than one drop to really dilute or kill even a 40% whiskey. So don't be afraid to put that one drop on there. That's for sure. And this is mostly for all the other guys, not these guys that are chatting. These guys are experts. They know what they're doing. And definitely check out Scotch for Dummies on the side. DHS, if you got a channel, feel free to shout it out there, as well as any of the other guys too. I'm definitely not opposed to sharing the knowledge and the subs and all that stuff later on. So you know how that goes. Showcase whiskey, yeah, it was good, but not great. Got an unopened No Name 2, but since it's signed by John Glazer, I might as well not open it anytime soon either. I don't blame you, dude. I definitely don't blame you. That's something that I would probably keep as a reminder of your interactions with him, man, because you must have met him after the fact, because I didn't get to see him after that one deal with you guys in New York. So congratulations on that. He must have liked you if he invited you back. Oh, here we go. Mark says that's still open. It too good to let the cork rot. It's just $80 scotch. Yeah, but if he ever decides that, he holds on to it for, hell no, 40, 50 years, gives it to his kids wants to sell it, make a lot more money if it's unopened than this, popping it open. If you already know what the juice tastes like, and if it's not exactly up your alley, well, there you go. Trooper says, I've got the Aaron, the Bothy quarter cast strength, number 4. I won't be typing very well shortly. Oh, man. That sounds like, tell us what you think about that one. I've had a couple errands here and there. I wasn't, too into the 16 was kind of okay. It was decent. It was like 3.25 out of 5. I've heard the newer ones are actually better, so it would be nice to see what you get out of this. Is that a newer batch, or is that an older batch? Just out of curiosity. Mark says, "Damn, your collection's growing." It's still growing, man. You haven't even seen the other side of the house. These shelves go all the way around the other side. Oh man, it's crazy. Like I said, I've been still having. I just went through the Glenfiddich 19 Age of Discovery bourbon cask. If you're not a Glenfiddich fan, of course, don't even go there. I don't mind their core. I like the Solera 15. If you're a fan of their, regular stuff, then the 19 Discovery, even at 150 to 160, if you can find it, I think it's definitely a good buy. It's 43%. It's on the lower ABV, but it's one of those great pop open, pour, and sip whiskeys. You don't have to spend a lot of time with it. If you're just looking for a good savory bourbon, straightforward, good fruit and sweetness with that savory sourdough kind of back end. No frills though. I mean, not there's not a lot of ultra complexity going on, but just taste out of the gate. I think it's damn worth it and a good buy. So there you go on that one. That was one that I recently picked up. It's way over there somewhere. Let's see. I've done some reviews on Mike Whiskey's reviews with him. Okay, but it says channels. I'm just the drunk guy. Well, that's cool. I think he was the one that was with another guy before. And the other guy, I guess, had to stop, or I'm not sure if they had a falling out or whatever. But it's good to see that he's still doing it. I didn't know who you were talking about. I didn't know he was still doing reviews with you as well. So I'll have to take a look at that and see if I can see some new reviews from you guys at some point. Been on the old particular Brill Athol 21 cast strength for 109. Ooh, that's an excellent price, an excellent distillery. And an excellent independent bottling, Richard. I think it's a definite buy. Old particulars I've had have always been good. Blair Athol 16, I think it is, but the Flora and Fauna bottle, there's a 12. I think it's a 12. The Blair Athol Flora and Fauna is one of my favorite Flora and Fauna bottles, and I think Mark Broda had it as well, if I'm not mistaken. If you haven't, you should go check it out as well. And that price for cast strength, how could you say no? I would say share the link in one of the reviews. Yeah, that sounds good. Jason says to Richard, saw a picture of that bottle on the shelf. Blair Athol fan. Yeah, I love the stuff, but never had one. Had that one. Yeah, that's one I would definitely pick up and at least give it a try. I doubt you would have be disappointed with it. It'd be really surprising if it was a bad experience, and especially at that price. You have very little to lose if you're used to spending $200 or $300 on a bottle as it is anyway. Wow, Telex's Whiskey Vault. Yeah, it's here. It's just not shown fully. Hint to Mark Broda: if you're ever in DC, man, you got to get out here. We'll have to have a few drams and maybe hit a couple unopened bottles. I don't just open them for anybody. We'll put it that way. Your back wall is looking good. Thanks, man. And yes, the Bothy bottle is older, bottling of about quarter cast. Okay, sounds good to me. DHS, that's one of the more sober Telex might be. You post whatever you want, man. I'm not monetized. I'm not moderated. I'm no holds barred. I'm not Swami, but I just let her fly to an extent. I do have my limits. We'll put it that way. No offense to Swami, but I'm not that far to the other side of the fence. I'm kind of in the middle. Hey, Drew, good to see you too, man. I was just talking about you guys. We'll definitely have to catch up here shortly and see how things are going. Richard says, let's open a bit of SWS. Awful, yeah, recently is so good. I bet it is, man. SMWS is that's another independent bottling that doesn't get a lot of credit. I think only because you don't see them in stores. You have to have that membership and all that stuff. But if you are looking for a continuous flow of independent bottlings, that's where I would go as well. As I have yet to have a bad example of any distillery really from those guys, and I've had numerous bottles from them. Mike must not be not like doing whiskey reviews with people who have better hair than him. That's crazy. Not sure if that's public knowledge, but Mike and Billy are friends still. No falling out. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I was completely just guessing at what happened. I didn't know if there was if that was if there was any issues or what. I don't know either one of them. I never talked to them or anything, but I just knew that they were doing things together for a while, and then it was just Mike for a while, and I didn't really know why. So that's cool though. I'm glad everything's working out for both, for both sides. Blair Athol, first edition, 1995. It was at 127 Canadian dollars. I think that's the only reason Blair Athol's prices are so decent, is that it's not a huge name. That's one of the I think they're a Diageo product, aren't they? Yeah, they're Flora and Fauna. So that's one of the rare gems I think Diageo has, that they could very well push a lot of emphasis into a single malt and actually launch a series. Have a few, a 12, a 15, a 18, and maybe some special casks and stuff. I think that would be definitely worth the investment. I mean, their basic juice is really good. It's rare to find that in things that are used in blends. It really is. The Kennedy is another one that's like that. It's really good by itself. That's using a lot of blends. I'm not sure why they use it for blending. It's expensive as hell too. For a 375 milliliter bottle, it's like over $150 or something crazy. For I think it was a 17 or 23-year-old, but it's still pretty decent. Just no travel budget for me right now. Yeah, I hear you there. It's hard to do anything. I think you guys are doing a Scotland trip. I'm not sure if you're doing it this year, next year. I did hear something about it. Not a lot of detail or anything, but I'll have to look into it. Not saying that I can go yet, but I'll have to see what the deal is with it. Hollywood, here I come. Cal wants tomorrow. She says, can you tell Telex has been hitting the health life of the community? I'm not lean and mean, man. I'm not lean and mean. I'm still 280 plus. I've had one of the bad SMS files, but it feels like the exception that proves the rule. Yeah. It's a rarity, I'd say. I'm trying to think of one that, I mean, I don't know if I'd say bad. Maybe one that didn't meet expectations, perhaps. But yeah, I know what you mean. Lost cause, missed the hair comment. Keith shows up sometimes. He's got a great head of hair. 3 of us will be together tomorrow. I'm not sure if he'll review or not. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we'll have to definitely check DHS/Mike out. Had the SNWS Holland Park 15, phenomenal. I bet that was. Ever had the Spey? Yes. Well, yes and no. The Spey is actually a distillery called Speyside. It's kind of funny how some of these guys, it's the whole trickery with the whole Glenlivet and everybody trying to be, Glenlivet, and then there's the Glenlivet and the whatever and all that mess. But Speyside is a distillery that actually is just called Speyside. Usually, I have a 12-year-old bottle back here that I just got because we were doing like a tour of all the distilleries, and it's an okay glass. It's nothing to get excited about by any means. It's 2.5 out of 5, 3 out of 5, maybe at the most. Nothing to get excited about. The Spey, I know Mark and Drew and the Scotch 4 Dummies have done the Fumare, which is an interesting sounding bottle. If they are correct, and they don't steer me wrong, and it's hard to steer you wrong when you got 4 guys agreeing on something. That was a pretty good bottle, and that's one that I would like to get my hands on. The ones that are called Speyside are usually their lower end stuff, and it looks like the Spey stuff is their more higher end, more experimental, different casks and things like that. I would love to try the Fumari. Now, some of the other ones I've heard are not as good as that one. So if I was going to pick one, I would go with the Fumari probably to start out with, just on a whim. I have seen Speys now that have age statements. I think I might have even seen an 18-year-old recently. If the price is right, I would probably try to do that. The Glen Spey is a whole different scenario. Glen Spey is, I think, another Diageo distillery that they use in blends pretty much. And I have had a Glen Spey and it was just like a Glen Ord, which was just like a Tom Navulin, which was just like a Mocklemore. They're all real basic 2.5 to 3 out of 5 star, whiskeys. Nothing, to get overly excited about. So that's why when I was doing the reviews and I was thinking of hitting all the distilleries, I thought, you know what? After I get all the ones that I know are great, which I already did, I'm going to have a boatload of shows that are just going to be kind of like, yeah, here we go. Here's another average whiskey. Even their 15, 18-year-old, if they have an offering like that, and most of these guys don't, their oldest might be a 12 or a 15, even if that. It was just going to be a lot of monotony, a lot of, just basic churning out basic reviews of stuff, and you can't really get a lot of complexity out of a lot of these guys. So that's why they're used for blends, and that's why we don't really talk about them very often. Thankfully, the Blair Athels and some of these like the Pittivac, Little Mill, some of these do have some gems that are worth looking into, even if they're dead distilleries like Dallas Dew and oh my, I'm Port Ellen, of course, Brora, Rosebank, those guys. It's definitely worth a look. But then you're getting more into that. So they're really skinny, tall bottles, but yeah, they definitely have a different look to them. And Mark said, yeah, he loved that one from Ari. I remember that being an interesting review I saw from you guys that got me thinking, maybe I should give them another look, even though I wasn't really a big fan of the Speyside 12 Basic one. So I'll have to take a look at that. Richard Blancas from Peter. There's a Hunter Lang Blair Ethel at the LCBO. I take it that the LCBO, isn't that the Canadian distribution for the provinces, or am I thinking something different? I can't remember what the LCBO thing was, but it was something like that, I thought. It's only hard for me to spend under $100 on brand I don't know. Just so many terrible whiskeys under $100 in the Scotch market. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there, DHS. It's that makes it a bit rough. So many overpriced ones as well. Yeah, I tend not to see too many bad bottles of 100. Maybe I'm lucky. There's average Scotches all around. Truth to that, yeah. It's that's why I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit some distilleries that might not be as well known. Like Bladnoch is a great one that's not very well known. A Lowland. I got lucky enough to take the chance at buying a bottle of their 15 Adela and fell in love with it. And the Scotch 4 Dummies were doing a little, let's just say a little salsa swap. And the guy that I was working with, he got lucky enough to have a little of that, and he was as into it as I was, if not more so. So there you go. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you have to take a chance, but Ontario Monopoly, yeah, gotcha. It's kind of like your all's version of the state-run stuff in Pennsylvania and Virginia. So yeah, that's tough when you have to deal with those guys continuously. I know, but luckily in Maryland, the counties actually differ. The state doesn't control everything. Thank God, and I hope they never change that. The Bottom of Macallan Edition 5. Talk about setting money on fire. DHS, what do you mean? I stopped after the 2. I've been way out of touch with the editions on Macallan. The 3 I heard was like a lemon bomb, floral lemony bomb, and I wasn't really into that, so I kind of skipped that one. The 4 was intriguing, and I thought about trying it, but I just waited too long, and now I think they have a 5 and a 6 coming out. So what's wrong with the 5? I'm just curious. Why is it setting money on fire? I'm afraid to ask. How about the Glenlivet Nadura 16 cast strength? The 16 cast strength, I've heard great things about. Personally, I have not had that particular one. The one I tried was the Glenlivet Nadura first fill. It wasn't a 16-year version though. And let's just say it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was kind of a 3 out of 5, decent average, whiskey, I'd say. The I have heard great things about that 16 cast strength Endura, though, and I'd love to try it at some point. Did have a peated version of Endura one time, and a lot of people I know like it. I couldn't really get into it because it's extremely lemony. If you love a citrus lemony flavor, then I'd say go for that one. But for me, it was just way too much lemon, and I'm not huge on the lemon lime stuff. I can tolerate an Ardbeg 10 because I love Ardbeg, but anything other than that, I try to stay away from the overly lemony stuff. DHS says the 2 and 3. I forget one of those was horrible and the other was meh. 4 was good. 5 just has 0, and I mean 0 character. Not a bad whiskey, but nothing good either. Interesting. The 2 is great. I hope you're talking about the 2 being the good one and the 3 being the meh one. Or one of those was horrible. So hopefully you were thinking the 3 was horrible and the 2 is meh. I don't know, but I thought the 2 was actually pretty good. It was one of my favorite Macallans I've had. I liked it better than the Classic Cut even. And the Classic Cut was okay. The Classic Cut was funny because I loved the first part of it, but as it's oxidized, the sulfuric properties got more heavier and heavier. And toward the end, and thankfully it didn't take long to get through, it was getting a little rough. And it wasn't an old bottle by any means. It was only like, a couple weeks, but it seemed like the longer it sat, the more the sherry sulfuric notes came out of it, this to me at least. But I'm going back here. I'm never going to buy one of those Highland or Speyside branded bottles at the distillery. Yeah. Well, they don't disclose it because I think, don't quote me on this, and some of these other guys might know more definite answers, but like Kalila doesn't do it sometimes, I think, only because of some sort of issue where it's made. They also make several different at one place. I think it's some sort of contractual reason, but don't quote me on that. I could not figure out why, other than that reason, why would they not disclose it? But I could be wrong. Wow, the comments are just flying by. Sorry, guys, let me scroll up a little bit. The reason is probably NDA they had to sign with the distiller. Yeah, it's got there's something else besides that's going on there. I enjoyed the 2 quite a bit. Mark agreed with me on that one. Yeah, I thought the 2 was absolutely great. The perfumer, that must have been a 3 because I heard that was a lemony floral nightmare that I never even tried. Jason says that was 3. Yeah, sorry, I'm way behind. I'm catching up though. 2 with the chefs. Yeah, the only one I had was 2. I liked it. Jason says, yeah. Only colored whiskey I would buy is Laphroaig 10. Yeah. And it's weird. They don't really do a whole lot of coloring at all. I'm surprised they even bother because if you look at the 10 cast strength, even it's not dark by any means. It's not like they're trying to make you think it's a 15 or 18-year-old whiskey for sure. Smell the 3 and hold your nose and sip the 4. That's scary. You're scaring us, Lost Cause. THS is. Okay, then the 2 is, man, I didn't dislike it. Just felt like $100 whiskey, but it's not it. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think I got my value for the 2. I'm not saying it was well priced, but for what the taste I thought was pretty good. I remember it being spicy, but yet sweet. Had some sulfur, which I don't shy away from. Actually, I do like a little bit in there. And I think it was well balanced. Had a good ABV. I think it was at least 46%, if not 48. I have to go back and look, but it was. But I agree. It wasn't like the rare Cask Black. I mean, that is a whiskey that I would die to have another bottle of at some point. I just had a sample of it. Not talking about the regular rare cask. That one's kind of man, especially for $300, $400, whatever it was. But the Rare Cast Black, that is worth a trip. That is worth a pickup for 300 even. I think it's. I thought it was Black Art's quality caliber factor, you know, and Black Arts is no joke. That stuff is great. Let's see. God Despair 2 did not hate the 3. Okay. Yeah, I've heard mixed reactions to the 3. I think it depends on your personal palate on that one. It's probably a good whiskey. It's just probably just not going to hit all the right notes for every person, like a lot of these other ones kind of do or tend to do. It's whiskey. It's good whiskey for blending. Yeah. Okay, if you're like me, and fruity distillate from bourbon cask, happy place. Yeah. We're getting at $69 a case. Wow, Canadian for clearance. That's crazy. Of course, Rare Black is way more than $300. Yeah, this is going back when it was released. I think at the highest it could have been $4, but it wasn't more than that at the time that it was released, and it was, you know, it was definitely good. But I don't think it was that much more. I'll go back and double check, but I could have sworn it was around 3 to 4 at the most. Thankfully, I didn't have to buy that one. It was a sample, but that was actually a well done one. The Rare, and it's funny because I had the Rare Cast Black first, then I had the Rare, and going to the Rare, I thought, well, hell, this is just going to be the Rare Cast Black without the smoke. But it was a lot different. It was nowhere near the same, if not love Laphroaig. Period. I've catch up with you, Telex. Okay, how about Aaron Bodega Sherry Cask Strength? I have not tried that one. I have had a couple of Aaron's here and there, but I have not had their cask strength or their particular cask offerings yet. I have been wanting to get into some of them, but just haven't pulled the trigger yet. Let me know what you think about those, and if it's worth a shot. You know, might as well take a gamble and see. Agreed. There's a reason I have 3 bottles of the 10. Yeah, cask strength stashed. I do think the regular is colored, but it's hard to be sure. If I'm not mistaken, most Laphroaig bottles are not necessarily colored, but some of them are. And I think the reason why I say that is it's one of those things where Germany has to release the coloring information on their bottles, and I can't remember if the 10 versus the 10 cask strength with the 2 that were colored. I don't think they were. I think the colored ones were the more of like the in the Cairdeas series, like the Madeira cask. I think might be the Anclemore might be PX cask, that kind of stuff. Maybe I don't know if they do their core, if they color their core at all. It just doesn't make sense to do it because it's a naturally, you know, pale whiskey. I mean, like this, even as a 15, this is not ultra dark by any means for a 15. This is actually lighter than a lot of 15s that I've seen, but the 15s that I've seen more, the ones that end in more, we'll say, are the ones that are extremely dark. So it's like, you know, I don't think they would bother. I really don't, but I could be wrong. It's one of those unfortunate things, even with Germany's, once you live in Germany, you're not going to really know what's going on, it sounds like. I try to ask Hoagie Bear anytime I get a chance if this one's got coloring or not. We'll put it that way. I picked up the, oh, there's a reason. Okay, there we go. Picked up the Sherry Cask. Aaron, didn't know if you tried it. No, I haven't tried that one yet. Let me know what you think of it, though. The last Black release was $800. No, this I was gonna say it's $450 at the highest. Man, there's no way that sucker is that high. It's definitely not worth $800 either. But it's I think it's worth 3 to 4. You know, if it's $450 retail though, that means it's probably selling for $550 now since it's been out for so long. But if you could find a really good deal, it's worth it. But it's probably hard to pin down at this point unless you're lucky enough to. I think it's one of those travel retail exclusives too, so you have to find it like in some dusty corner of Hong Kong somewhere. You better go now. This whole crazy coronavirus is going on. Oh man, this stuff is scary as hell. Hopefully, they'll keep that away, long, far away from us. As they're dropping like flies, man, it's insane. And just seeing those people in Ukraine freaking out recently about this, it's kind of disheartening. Hopefully, everybody's okay. But yeah, if you're gonna get some travel retail exclusives though, and you're not near China, this might be the time to go to the airport and see what you could find, because there's not. I think travel season is probably going to go way downhill in the next few months if this keeps multiplying and if this keeps spreading. So I'd be down for a new release. Black at 48, yeah, which is crazy high ABV for Macallan. Yeah, I think it really helped. I think the 48% really is a godsend. How hard is it to print? Not colored, like they say, unchill filtered in many bottles. Don't understand. I think it's not a difficulty issue. It's just that, they have to color some. They don't have to color some, and they probably have prints that they're doing, and Drew could probably attest to some of this. But I think it's more expensive to put it in the print in like a slide type thing and print the bottles, and they're doing these in mass quantities. So I think it's just since all of them aren't colored, they're not going to put anything about coloring on any of the bottles. That's just my guess. Oh, Horst says Germany's still working on that color law, not yet settled. Interesting. Okay. You don't always color just to darken whiskey more to keep consistency. That's true. Mark's right about that. It's just hard to imagine they care when using green bottles too. That's true. Yeah, that's a great point. And I do love the fact that they do that, because you do not want sunlight hitting the bottles. If you ever see people storing these in sunlight, they're out of their minds. And that's why these are green colored, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's pretty much the reason why a lot of these guys do not use clear bottles for that. Anyway, to find out how much E150 each story buys a year, yeah, that would be nice to know. I'm sure Dalmore. I'm even going to look at Trooper's comment, but I'm going to say I bet Dalmore probably has stock in whoever makes food coloring. That's all I'm going to say. They're going to hate me, but I just can't stand it. I've got a Dalmore 15. There's no damn way they color for consistency. That's overkill. Yeah, that's a bit much. I will have to say on that. That one's got some really interesting different Matcha Salem, I think is how you say it. Matcha Salem, Oloroso stuff in there. They got some interesting combinations of sherry going on. So I don't know if that has any factor in the coloring, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here a little bit. DH says, well, Whiskey Exchange has the rare black for $425. Oh, 440 pounds, if anyone can. Yeah, that would be a lot. That would be almost $800, I think, right? I'm not going to mess with the computer right now since everything's working, but that's awfully. Excuse me, that's awfully high. Just buy online. Damn shame you got to buy overseas to get a reasonable price. Yeah, that's pretty much where things are going, minus the tariff issue now. Like my home store here that I go to. Hey, Mark, has what's his face from Vine and Table? Has he told you guys about the tariffs being issues? I know my local store has stated that it is hard to get the whiskey in at a reasonable level because of these tariffs. So hopefully this will die down a little bit soon. I heard February was going to be the month when the tariffs start, slowly getting back to normal, which is it's the end of February now. So I'm hoping that we'll notice by March that this is getting to be better. But oh wow, 550. Yeah, U.S. dollar is strong right now. That's true. I guess the tariff stuff maybe doesn't hurt as much. I don't know. I don't know enough about economics to be able to make any statements on that stuff. But our dollar is kicking ass in the side a little bit. So I don't know. Haven't heard anything locally about the impact. Okay. Yeah, here in Maryland, I've heard that this was going back to November. November to December was really rough getting stuff in the country without paying some crazy fees. Even ordering, I noticed ordering through customs, there was some crazy customs charges that these guys were adding on to the fact. And I stopped buying because of that, for a bit. It was kind of disheartening to see, not only are you paying for this ABV, tax on the cast strength stuff, you're also going to be paying custom fees of 40, $50. I'm like, this is crazy. But which, by the way, the tariffs are being greatly reduced to our strong dollar, by the way. So if you think it's bad, there you go. It could be much worse. The $100% tariff idea got shot down. Yeah, making me thankful for 25%. Thank the whiskey lords and guys. The 25% sucks, but if it weren't for our strong dollar, we'd be worse off. Yeah, that's true. It is true. And I know that's why he's doing this stuff. And I'm not going to get into politics because you guys probably lean towards where I lean, but I'm not going to take any gambles because I know it's a really divided country right now. But I'm going to be optimistic and hope that things stabilize and get better, and a lot of this tariff craziness will make more sense maybe in the few months to come, but we'll see. Let's see. No coloring is peace of mind. It tastes is fuller, richer, in my humble opinion. Love me some Scotch mist. Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, the strong dollar bites me a bit. Mention my businesses overseas. Oh, they're not buying. Yeah. If you're doing business overseas, this is probably not the best time to be doing it. Do you have any way to do more in house, Jason? I don't know what type of business it is, but is there any way you can get more of it here locally? I know that's what he's trying to accomplish. I can't say you can do that with every business type, that's for sure. Though it depends on what your services are, but hopefully you can find a way. Log 116 for $120 is ridiculous. Where in the world is that? Louisiana, there, Trooper? I think that's where you're still at. That is way too much. You can get Log 116 all day here for $80, usually 90 at the higher end. The 120 is the price for like the distiller's edition, but that's a whole nother thing. Not to get into politics, he's in favor of a weak dollar. Oh, well, that's not good. I definitely don't want a weak dollar. No, my business is literally half of what it was in 2015. That's sad. Trade war has decimated me. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. That's not good to hear. I don't like to hear anybody suffering for any reason. So especially when you even if you're doing business overseas, you live in the country, so that's really crazy. 135 after tariffs in Kentucky. Are you serious? That is scary. I'm tied to a Chinese supply chain, electric components and aluminum prices. Oh, okay. The sales are heavily international. This is worst case for me. Yeah, that's anytime you're dealing with the Chinese supply chain right now, I bet that is just crazy. Need to pop, guys. Yep. Good to see you there, Mark. Great to see you online as well. And I'll definitely try to hit your guys' stream here in the next Thursday. And if not, then if I have one, let's see, what's today, Friday? Tuesday, I think I'll be having another one. So we'll hopefully see you guys then and keep it going. Peter White says, yeah, accept your price. Yeah, in Toronto. Screwed up Alberta online shipping. Oh, man. That is crazy because, yeah, Alberta, I've heard, is like the best place to get in Canada. And if they screwed you guys out of that, that's just really sad. Well, the good news is I don't think it can get much worse because you know that if it's really affecting all of our, hobbies and prices and juice, that, all these Diageo and Beam Centauri and the Edgerton Group, the Louis Vuitton guys that do Ardbeg and Glenmorangie. All these guys are probably going to start pounding on the hopefully on the politicians' doors, saying, "Hey, you know, something's got to give here. We're losing business like crazy." And not all of these companies are American, but some of them are, and a lot of them have ties to America. I mean, Diageo just opened up a nice new a Guinness distillery here in Maryland recently, and you know, if it's hurting their bread and butter, I'm sure they're going to be crying about it here really soon. I would hope, at least, but we'll see how it goes. That's brutal. Yeah. Yeah, it's hopefully it gets better. It can't get much worse. And like I said, if what he said was correct in November, that by February things were going to start getting better, hopefully by this time next month, and we'll see if, you know, if it works out, we'll be in better shape. But if not, then hopefully people will start, you know, knocking on the door saying, "Hey, we got to change something to make things better." Go from there. Well, I'm going to shut her down, guys. I really had a good time as usual. And check out the short review. I just kind of got into it real quick and shut the feed down. That's what I'm going to start doing, just to get the reviews out and start a new feed up and shoot the shit with you guys on the side afterward for a while. And we almost already at 2 hours. So it's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. And yeah, thanks DHS for stopping by. I was worried I was going to pop on and nobody was going to come, but definitely held our own the whole time. And it's really good to see all the regulars like you in Lost Cause, and some new people too. Richard Blancas, nice to meet you. Jason Coates is a regular. Always good to see him and Trooper. Mark and Drew stop by from time to time, and Mr. Lee, Aquaman, you know who you are. Peter's a new face. Peter, it was nice to meet you as well. I'm just kind of scrolling back and seeing if I missed anybody. I probably missed a couple people here and there, but yeah, and I'll be doing more and be more focused. I was getting way too much in the weeds before and trying too hard, I think, and trying to be over analytical and too much scoring going on and calculations and all that crap. And I thought, you know what, let's just give them what they want. A short video, a short review, to the point, and then a nice, just laid back discussion afterward. So give me a thumbs up before you go if you haven't already on both vids. If you had fun, I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully your stuff gets better there for Alberta. Sláinte mhath, y'all.